Hello everyone, today's fight is gonna be the ARK Spinosaurus versus my friend's hybrids, Tiamatosaurus, or how he calls him, Levy, as a nickname, which is easier than Tiamatosaurus. So let's begin. For starters, we can already start with ARK Spinosaurus due to his scaling being rather easier in comparison to Tiamatosaurus. And to begin with, he already outscales dinosaurs like Carnotaurus, Raptors, and the Baryonyx. This is important because all of these creatures have building to small building level ranges, and all of them downscale from the ARK Spinosaurus. But in order to get a deeper into the scaling, we need to look into the T-Rex, Brontosaurus, and other creatures that directly scale into the Spinosaurus. One important thing for ARK's Spinosaurus is him directly scaling to ARK's Rex. ARK's Rex possesses large building level metas and easily pushes into the city block level, given that he outright scales to the Brontosaurus. Speaking of the Brontosaurus, many calculations I have estimated that the range of power of the ARK Brontosaurus would be between large building plus to downright city block level. This is consistent as in the dossier, Brontosaurus are also used as war weapons by other warfaring tribes. For Levy himself, we do know for a fact that he upscales Umbrodon's shock, which can be up to 3 million volts. 3 million volts equals to 1.14 kilotons of TNT, which is consistent given that he's stated to be the strongest of his brothers. Umbrodon and Loricodon are both able to box with dinosaurs like Rexy, Zeb, and even the Indom. All of them having building to large building level ranges, and it would be consistent given that in lore he was also able to overpower the Mosasaur, the same Mosasaur that may or may not have a one-shot gap above the Indom, which I don't buy it. I personally think that for as powerful as the Mosasaurus was, he wasn't able to really one-shot the hybrid, but that's beside the point. Consistently, in terms of AP, we do have Tiamatosaurus being between large building to city block levels due to upscaling a lot of the weaker feats and a lot of its older brothers. B. Which of them is faster in combat? We can directly upscale Levies to the Jurassic Park's Velociraptors, who are confirmed to be just as fast as cheetahs, which have 40 to 60 mph calculations, which would give him superhuman to even subsonic levels of speed. As for the Spinosaurus, we already know to upscale him from the Megalodon and the Rex. While the Rex in-game is not able to run when it's on the wild, and neither does the Megalodon, that doesn't mean that they don't run. That's more of a gameplay limitation that's probably done in order to save early players from getting easily killed by the Rex. But this doesn't matter because he would upscale an even bigger feat, that being the Gallimimus. The Gallimimus has a speed of over 76 km per hour, which is important due to what I'm going to mention later. But just so you know, they would be between the same levels of speed, with the slight edge going to Levy. When it comes to intelligence and battle IQ, this is easily on Levy's side due to the fact that he's composed of more intelligent animals, while the ARK Spinosaurus seems to rely solely on instinct. And if you want, you can use the arguments of tame Spinosaurus being able to follow rudimentary commands like follow me, attack this, stay neutral. All of these would be surprisingly impressive, but in absolute terms, Levy takes the cake. This isn't even close. However, where things take a turn is with abilities, access, and experience. So let's get experience out of the way. Levy probably has faced many other carnivores before. However, he was basically a big fish in a small pond. Unfortunately, ARK Spinosaurus doesn't have the same luck. He has to constantly fight with other dinosaurs that either outscale him or are just directly comparable to him, such as the Rex, Therizinosaurus, and even more likely recently the Deinosuchus, which was recently became a canon creature with ARK Survival Ascended. So in terms of experience, the Spinosaurus takes the cake. For abilities, they are both relatively close to one another. Levy possesses the ability of amphibianosis and being actually very maneuverable underwater, but so does Spinosaurus. But where the tie gets broken is with abilities. The Spinosaurus possesses the hydration buff, which amps his speed and attack power by 15% and his speed by 20%. With calculations I've performed, this would mean that the Spinosaurus could reach speeds of over 96.5 km per hour by upscaling the Gallimimus, and for attack potency that would even bump up his speed. Within still city block level, but that can wait. So in terms of abilities, the Spinosaurus takes the cake again. So in short, we have two characters who are somewhat relative in terms of attack potency, but as for durability, there's one thing I need to mention. Our Spinosaurus, at least according to the game, possesses less health than the T-Rex. And unlike the T-Rex, he doesn't seem to be able to tank as many hits, which would explain why he isn't used as a war mount like the Rex is, which would directly support his attack potency not scaling to his durability, while Levy seems to be quite the opposite, and arguably his attack potency that is downright inferior to his durability. This is one point to keep in mind, the fight that is about to come. Well, it seems that this fight resulted in a draw of all things, which is not surprising given that some calculations actually put them within a respectable power between the other. For starters, both of them were actually within the city block to even multi-city block levels of range, thanks to more wing ends and more absurd calculations per se. This highball calculation upscales ARK Spinosaurus for its real-life counterpart and calculates its GPE, which gets into 4.46 kilotons of TNT, which is way bigger than Tiamatosaurus 1.14 kilotons of TNT. And with the 15% buff the Spinosaurus gets, this would mean that it would be within 6 to even 7 kilotons of TNT. Not enough to one-shot Tiamatosaurus, and as I said, it's very likely that Tiamatosaurus' durability upscales his AP. And due to the fact that the Spino's durability downscales from his AP, means that this is really an even fight. It really relies on how much do you want to wink both ends, or if you think those are wink ends at all. I personally believe, myself, sorry Warblades, but Spinosaurus takes this one, due to the fact that his feats are more direct, and the fact that I've limited my scaling to only using island creatures. If I were to include stuff from Genesis or etc., yeah, sorry, but Levy wouldn't stand a chance. But when a scenario more balanced for both ends, this is a very toss-up. If Levy exploits the Spino's lack of durability, he would definitely win. But if the Spino manages to land more blows, and due to the fact that they have similar speeds, I don't believe it would be impossible for the Spino to get a win. So, in the end, with mid to high difficulty, ARK Spinosaurus wins with 60 to 65% of the time. So anyways, this is all for today. Thank you for watching, and Warblades, please don't get mad at me. Your hybrid is cool and all, but ARK Spino is superior. Anyways, this is gonna do it for today. See you next time. Bye!